The Battle of Berlin, which unfolded from April 16th to May 2nd, 1945, was not merely a military engagement. It was a monumental confrontation that signaled the end of World War II in Europe. This battle was one of the most significant and brutal confrontations of the entire conflict, encapsulating the immense suffering, destruction, and political upheaval that characterized the war. By early 1945, the situation for Nazi Germany had become increasingly desperate. The Allies had made significant advances from the West, launching successful campaigns that pushed German forces back across the Rhine River and into the heart of Germany. Simultaneously, the Soviet Red Army was advancing rapidly from the east, creating a situation where the capital city, Berlin, was effectively encircled. The stage was set for a climactic confrontation that would reshape the political landscape of Europe for decades to come. In the months leading up to the battle, Germany's situation deteriorated rapidly. The Allied forces had landed in Normandy in June 1944, and by the end of that summer, they had liberated much of France. As the Allies advanced into Germany from the west, the Soviet Union was engaged in its own campaigns against German forces, steadily pushing towards the German border. The Soviets had already recaptured much of Eastern Europe, including Poland and parts of the Balkans, and their momentum seemed unstoppable. By early 1945, they were poised to launch a final assault on Berlin, the heart of the Nazi regime. As the Soviet forces prepared for the assault on Berlin, they amassed an overwhelming military presence. Over 2.5 million soldiers were gathered, supported by an extensive array of tanks, artillery, and aircraft. The Red Army had learned from its previous encounters with the Wehrmacht, adapting its strategies and tactics to exploit the weaknesses of the German military. This massive buildup of forces included not only seasoned veterans but also new recruits who were motivated by the desire to avenge the suffering inflicted by the Nazis on their homeland. Marshal Zhukov, one of the most respected and skilled commanders of the Red Army, was appointed to lead the assault. His reputation as a brilliant strategist and his previous successes, including the victory at Stalingrad, positioned him as the ideal leader for this final offensive. The Soviet command, led by Marshal Zhukov, developed a strategy to encircle and cut off Berlin, aiming to trap German forces inside the city. Over 2.5 million Soviet soldiers, supported by tanks and artillery, launched a massive artillery bombardment on April 16th, devastating Berlin's defenses. Soviet forces pushed into the city from multiple directions, encountering fierce resistance from German defenders, including Volkssturm militia, regular troops, and young conscripts. Despite their tenacity, the Germans were outnumbered and outgunned. As Soviet troops advanced through brutal street-to-street fighting, they gradually overwhelmed the city's defenses, leading to Berlin's eventual fall on May 2nd. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe, like, and share for more history content.